Every day the disease tries to crush us and make us forget who we are, but I keep fighting. My name is Aiden, and I am infected.
This game looks fucking awesome. I have been looking forward to this game for over 2 years now, when it was first announced on the Xbox E3 stage in 2018. And I would not be surprised if Xbox bought Techland, since they have been on a studio buying spree lately. It would be an awesome acquisition for them too. Dying Light 2 is an upcoming survival parkour-filled horror action role-playing game, developed and published by Techland. The game will focus a lot on freedom, even more than the original did. The game really came out of nowhere, and I was not expecting it. I wish I recorded or streamed my reaction. The game looks like such an improvement in every way compared to the original game, even though the first one is also a fantastic game. The one big thing they need to improve on for the next game is a better story, since the first one didn't really have a good story at all. And this time they have Chris Avellone on the team, and Chris Avellone is known for working on great games like Fallout New Vegas, Prey and a lot more as a game writer or game director. He truly has the talent to help improve on some things Dying Light lacked. But even though the story was very mediocre in the first one, this time they might get it right. Let's hope they have learned from their mistakes and make an almost perfect game. We also know this game will have a lot more focus on choices that actually matter. Dying Light 2 has huge potential at being the perfect zombie game, but we will have to wait and see. If this game does everything they have said it will do, it will be an improvement in every single way. One of the main things in this game is the fucking awesome parkour system. The parkour in this game is quite similar to Mirror's Edge in a lot of ways. This is a really good compliment, since Mirror's Edge is one of my favorite games ever. This parkour system is built to give the player a lot of freedom, so you can easily decide where you want to climb or jump. Pretty much everything you can see in the world is something you can climb. You use parkour in the game by looking where you want to grab, and you jump towards it. It is really simple and fun. There are a lot of great animations that make the parkour feel really smooth and fun to do. There are also a lot of different animations, so it doesn't always feel the same. You will most likely be able to unlock a lot of different skills that change your parkour during your playthrough too. In this game, they have also doubled the amount of parkour moves you can do, for a lot more variation and less repetitive parkour. This is good since you do parkour pretty much all of the fucking time. The combat is being improved a lot, since in the first game it had a couple of downsides. The biggest downside being combat against human opponents, since it was incredibly boring. You would always do the same thing in the first game. You would hit, dodge, hit, dodge, and repeat until the enemy is dead. Or you could always finish it quickly by using a ranged weapon like a bow or something. It was repetitive and not at all engaging or fun. And they would be able to take an unrealistic amount of hits and do an unrealistic amount of damage to the player. This made combat against humans incredibly tedious. But this time the combat looks a lot more improved and refined, and it seems like you have more options on how to do combat. This time there will be even more different kinds of weapons compared to the first game, especially since this game is set multiple years after the first game. The main part of combat in this game will be the same as the first one. Brutal melee combat with a lot of different weapons. There will be around 50 new combos you can apply to your weapons, and you will also be using the environment to fight back a lot. I don't know if the old combos will come back or not, but I hope so. There will be limbs to cut off and heads to smash. One of the biggest changes in Dying Light 2 will be the new narrative choices. There will be a lot of them in this game. One example of a big choice is this one. A couple of NPCs have gained control over a water source, which puts a lot of uncertainty over the future of the surrounding communities. A group of law and order obsessed folks called the Peacekeepers sent out an emissary to check what they could do to get the water to their people. But for some reason, the emissary has gone missing and you have to figure things out. When you find the water smugglers, you will have the choice to exact retribution on them with some good old murder, which will allow the peacekeepers to spruce the place up. The streets will be a little bit safer and water will flow for the locals to drink, and the environmental changes will make parkour easier. But it will only be safer for the people that side with the peacekeepers. They are called the peacekeepers for a reason. They could potentially turn against you one day, but But if you side with the smugglers, the area will turn ruthless, where the poor are charged for drinking water, but at least you'll get a profit for it. Depending on which faction you choose, you'll see different banners and colors that will put a bit of life into the region. These choices will not always be between just two factions, and it won't always be a simple die or live situation. So depending on how you finish your mission and the choices you make, it will have a different outcome. You could always make things worse, and your choices will have significant consequences. No one's game will be the exact same. You are Aiden Caldwell, an infected survivor. Your incredible skills in agility and your brutal combat skills make you a powerful ally and very useful in this dangerous world. You can do things a lot of other people can't. The game has been said to be a version of modern Dark Ages. You play in a European city, which looks a lot more similar to Old Town in the original instead of slums. But at the same time, it looks like the new map will have a lot more detail and a little bit more flair, with different banners, marking faction territory and windmills. Marking faction territory and some windmills. These are just a few things, and there will be a lot more different things in the world. The game will look pretty much what you would expect a modern Dark Ages zombie apocalypse world to look like, and it will also change how it looks depending on the choices you make on your adventure. The map of Dying Light 2 will be a huge 4 times bigger than the original, which sounds like a really big size. This is good since you parkour around a lot in Dying Light and you want a lot to explore. There will be a lot of overgrown areas too, since people don't really have time to give a shit about it. There will be a lot of different things to place in the environment that will be useful for parkour, like different banners that you can dig your blade into and glide down. Or there are ropes you can swing onto when you are not using the grappling hook. The awesome day and night cycle from the first game is back, but it is a little different this time. Zombies don't really come out as much during the day, but you will still find them in enclosed spaces. During the night, they will hunt you like in the first game, so you better watch out, and you better keep your UV flashlight with you. A lot of the awesome zombie types from the first game will be back, of course, but there will also be a couple more new ones in Dying Light 2. It seems like the old composer will not make the soundtrack for this game, which is a shame since the first game's soundtrack was an underrated masterpiece that deserved to be more appreciated. I just hope the new composer also uses a lot of synth, since the synth soundtrack was a big part of the first game. But to be fair, the new composer, Olivier de Rivière, has worked on A Plague Tale and Vampire before, and both have nice soundtracks, so I remain optimistic. The game will take around 100 hours to complete everything in the game, but around 15 to 20 hours to finish the main story. This sounds like a pretty good amount of content for a game this size. Sadly, this game got delayed a while back, and no new date has been given since. Techland posted this. To our dedicated community, it was a busy year for us as we continued working on our biggest project to date. We know you're awaiting the game eagerly, and we want to deliver exactly what we promised. We were initially aiming for a spring 2020 release with Dying Light 2, but unfortunately we need more development time to fulfill our vision. We will have more details to share in the coming months, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have more information. We apologize for this unwelcome news. Our priority is to deliver an experience that lives up to our own high standards and to the expectations of you, our fans. Please stay tuned, and thank you to our fans around the world for your continued support, patience, and understanding. This is very sad news, but I only wish them the best in this. It has been a couple of months since this, and we haven't really heard anything new. I bet we might be able to hear more about this game at the Xbox event in July. Let's hope. Well, I have now talked about a lot of stuff, and I don't think I have to say that much more. This game sounds incredibly ambitious, and we don't know how this will work out in the end. But if this game gets the brutal combat, the fluent movement, the great soundtrack, and awesome world from the last game, and maybe even improves on it, I believe we will have a Game of the Year contender in our hands. No matter what, it will be a fun experience that I will love every minute of. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a like to show support. If you didn't like it, please give me some feedback on how to improve. This video took a long time to make, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want more similar content, please subscribe and give me suggestions on what to make next. Thank you, have a great day, and goodbye.
Dying Light 2 gives you the power to make choices that have massive consequences for the whole city, the sandbox space of our game. Turning on the pumps reveals a huge open world region for you to explore, with new mechanics, quests, and things to find. It also changes the direction of the narrative. The Colonel was right. There really was a plot against him. But only he knew the area was flooded for a reason.